Good morning. So it's now June 20th, day two of this little experiment. First, I'm a little embarrassed. Yesterday, when I started this, I made a mistake and I said, Tomorrow's Father's Day. Who knows if I'll be up doing this at 6 a.m.? Only to realize today isn't Father's Day. Tomorrow is Father's Day. I started this on a Friday. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow's Father's Day, so I might be doing this a little late. But at this point, nobody's watching anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This is really for me. Um, Today, I want to talk about paradigms. I mentioned paradigms yesterday. Um, the way I understand a paradigm is an innate belief, something that's been put there subconsciously by our thoughts. You think something long enough, your whole being just starts to believe it and does it that way. It becomes part of your paradigm, and that paradigm kind of guides your actions, your routines. It becomes kind of like a default setting for certain things, which is why change is often difficult. And kids, not so much. They don't have a lot of paradigms. They're open books, ready to learn. They're all about getting new ideas up here. But as adults, after a while, we stop with the up here and we just kind of push it down here, and we become creatures of habit. So have to change these habits. Have to change these paradigms. And one of the first things we need to do is change our attitude about money, change our paradigms about money, our beliefs about money. And sad to say, a lot of us grow up, hearing that money is the root of all evil, um, which is total BS. Greed is certainly not a good thing. Having money for the sake of money to the detriment of others, um, that's not a good thing. But having wealth, being able to provide a better life for you and your family is a good thing. And I find most people are hypocrites that way because as much as they're like, money's the root of all evil and blame the billionaires and all this, I think everybody would want to be a billionaire anyways. You might get a few people saying, no, I wouldn't want that. But deep down, when you say, hey, here's $1 billion, they're probably not going to say no. Um, so I think you really have to change your paradigms on how you think about money, how you feel about money. Um, it's tough. It's tough. I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about money. Um, it was not a proper conversation topic. Um, and as such, I was unfortunately financially illiterate for a long time. And then I actually started to learn about money, but I never changed my paradigms about money. And I've actually been learning about investing and doing things for quite a while now. I've known about the magic of compound interest for over 10 years now, and I never took advantage of it. If I would have had 10 years of compounded interest right now, my financial situation would be a lot better than it is. And part of the reason why is to know something intellectually is great, but unless you integrate it so much that you change your paradigms and this becomes a new habit towards something, that's not enough. You can't just read a book once and say, "Oh, I know everything there is to know." You are knowledgeable about something, but you do not truly know, live, breathe, and practice what you know. And I've been guilty of that for a very, very, very long time now. So one of the first things I need to do is switch that paradigm. So let's actually think right now, what are my hangups about money and why? Uh, I can tell you right now, the 2008 recession made me fearful about money. Fearful in the sense that um, it was rough. I think it was rough for a lot of people. Um, but giant mosquito on the screen, boom. It made me fearful about money because I wound up being in a position where it was lacking very much, to the point where, um, back where we lived in the day, I literally had to skip rent 1 month and do all the checks in the mail, but we didn't get that, and try to buy myself more time to scrounge up money just to pay rent. It was not a proud moment. Um, I didn't want to ask to borrow money from my family, um, for different reasons. Um, but afterwards, it always made me have that flinch factor towards money. Whenever I felt things were a little tight, I would close up and be like, shh, don't spend, don't spend. Um, and I went into a mentality of hoarding, figuring out how to grow more wealth. So it was saving instead of investing. It was a hoarding instead of growing. And that's not a good thing. It really isn't. And here's the truth: nobody ever got rich by saving money. If you want to get rich, you have to make money. And it's a couple ways to make money. Uh, Obviously, job, earn income. But unless you have one of these jobs that pays quite a fortune, that's usually not quite enough. So the other way is by investing your earnings into something that will yield high results through compound interest. Yay! Which is something I never took advantage of because I was fearful of putting that money away somewhere and saying, I don't have access to it. Because when you do that, you have to put money aside and say, I'm not touching this for decades. When you touch it decades later, it has grown into something amazing. Um, and I knew this, but I didn't know this. My paradigms wouldn't let me. I think I also tried once when I was much younger. I was talking into starting an RSP, um, for people who are not in Canada, essentially a retirement savings plan that's got some kind of tax benefits with the government. But all these things through the bank are usually done through mutual funds. And, um, financial planners out there will sell you on the idea of mutual funds. Mutual funds, don't touch them. They are a worthless investment. The only people who actually ever make money off mutual funds are the people who sell them because they take their commission whether it makes money or not. And literally, all it did was it was at a time where investing was actually bad, and the entirety of the money I put away in the mutual fund was eaten away by fees from the fund manager, and I wound up with a balance of zero after having put thousands of dollars in there. So that made me gun shy about investing too. Unfortunately, I got burnt, and being burnt is a good way to shift the paradigm. Um, so I got to change that. Now there are two ways apparently to change a paradigm to really, really do that. One way is through repetition. If you repeat over and over a statement that represents the belief you want to attain, the paradigm you want to set for yourself, eventually you start to integrate it because your subconscious mind is going to listen to it and eventually start to take it by heart. That's why it's so important to encourage kids. You know, put a kid down, keep telling them, no, 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 you're worthless. This kid's going to grow up believing they're worthless. Well, this is what's into them. This was repetition. Tell them they're brilliant and they can do anything, and they'll grow up believing they can do anything. So I have to tell myself that I can be smart with my money. I can find wealth. I can grow wealth. I can earn wealth. I can manage money properly. And I can be a millionaire by 50. But the other way to change a paradigm is through a major event, an epiphany of sorts, or something so shocking that it just changes your way of living. Uh, Unfortunately, usually most of those events, my experience so far, have fallen on the negative. For example, that um, mutual fund I told you about, well, I got burnt. Um, Although it was an education and not by mutual funds, which is actually true, but I just got burnt on the feeling of investing. Uh, Second one was the 2008 recession. I tell you, when you have to scrounge, um, skip bill payments, watch debt accumulate, and not eat well, skip meals because you don't have money. Um, that's a life-changing event. It really puts you in a fearful place. Now, the event that will make me have a positive attitude towards money and shift that paradigm in the right way, I don't know what that can be. Although this right now, this COVID isolation might just be it. Um, it's not a shocking event per se, but it's an event that has allowed me to take more time to reevaluate things for me. So it's probably not a strong event, but it's still kind of an event. But I'm going to go the repetitious route, which is part of why I'm doing this video blog. Every morning, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to talk about this mindset to become a millionaire by 50. And as time progresses, who knows what will happen. Um, I'm going to manifest that wealth. Now, there are instances of manifesting in the past that have worked for me. I don't even remember if I mentioned these yesterday, but I'm going to mention them again. Um, for instance, where my wife and I live now, we manifested this place because there was a sore need for it, and we really shifted our attitude about um, having to move. And truth be told, part of the reason for moving was the neighborhood we were in was getting worse, and shootings were becoming more prevalent. Still wasn't like a daily basis something, but we were just a block away from projects where there was a lot of violence and shooting, and there had been a few killings. And literally across the street was a corner store that was statistically, I was told, the most held up store in the city. Um, and we were in the mindset of wanting to have a child soon. And that really clinched it for us. We can't raise a child in this environment. Paradigm shift, boom. And within a week or two, we manifested this place. Yay! It worked because that was a paradigm shift. So I'm going to do this again. That one I didn't have to repeat. That was an event one. This one's going to be a repetition one, but that's okay. So bear with me, those of you who will eventually be watching this. You might be saying, wow, this guy says the same thing a lot. That's the point. Okay. So I'm basically just going to be talking about paradigms today. So what is it I actually want to feel in the inside? Because I've been saying a lot of where I was. It really depends on what you want to reprogram yourself. So at this point, if you're going to think big. My paradigm is I know my wife and I will be millionaires by 50. By my 50, because she has several more years before that happens. But I will be a millionaire by 50. And I'm going to do this down through a couple of streams. Um, I'm going to grow my business. I know that can be done because every year for the past 8 years, since I've done a shift in my business, I've had increased revenue. So I know this can be done. Not to mention, I've already started implementing plans, new strategies for marketing that I didn't do before. I've had to adapt thanks to the COVID situation, and these new plans will still work once the pandemic restrictions are lifted and everything goes back to whatever normal will become. But I do believe that people will get together again and have gatherings and kids will play and that whole social distancing thing won't be forever. People will have other people in their homes again. And the party life for me will go back to normal. That's my business life. But these new strategies will help draw more business. The other thing is I'm reading up on investing, and I've done that before. Uh, but this time is a little different because I've actually managed, despite the pandemic happening, I've already managed to earmark and squirrel away some, I'm not going to say serious investing money in the sense that it's not a particularly huge sum. It's not like I've got $25,000 to invest or anything like that. But for our situation right now, it's still a relatively substantial amount. And it's there waiting for the moment I find that stock that fits the bill according to the rule one of investing. I might talk about that in detail some other day, but if you're curious about investing, I really recommend this book by Phil Town called Rule One. It's you'll know what I mean. So already my attitude has shifted towards certain things. I know that recently I spoke yesterday about having shifted um, my mindset from um, trying to minimize my or did I minimize my income right now so I can get government benefits versus saying no, regardless, I'm going to try to earn as much as I can, even if I lose the benefit and make a little less that month because I haven't matched something to exceed these benefits. It's still important to grow the business and not be in that conservative, fearful mindset. So the paradigms are slowly shifting. Yay! Um, if anybody ever has feedback or stories they want to share about this, then that would be great. And if not, at this point, I think that's all I have to say for today. Um, so I'm going to finish once again with gratitudes. I'm grateful for another beautiful day. Um, I'm grateful that yesterday I actually got to socialize with my best friend again, um, which we've done a few times in the past, very socially distant, but this was a little more relaxed yesterday evening, and that was fun. I'm mainly grateful, however, that um, gigs are starting to flow my way again. Since the government has lifted some of the restrictions, we've entered into phase two last week. The phone started to ring again, and gigs are starting to come, and I've got a gig coming today. It's going to be a hot one because they're calling for around 39 degrees with the humidex today, and it's going to be outdoors, and with the costume I have to wear, it's going to be sweltering. And I think in the past I would have dreaded that, and part of me is still going a little, oh, it's going to be hot. But I'm still excited to do this because it's a gig again, it's work again after 3 months of nothing. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm also grateful that this evening we're going to my in laws to um, do some Father's Day stuff because, hey, it's a nice, awesome dinner. My father in law's a big steak guy. I love steak. And we're having nice steaks for dinner. Yay. I'm grateful for steak dinners. Anyways, that's it for me today. And I will talk to you tomorrow.